ESPN FC on the day that Mauricio Pochettino has been sacked as coach of Tottenham Hotspur. Shaka Hislop, Stevie Nicol and Craig Burley alongside me. It was an announcement that shocked the footballing world. This is the statement, or part of it, that Spurs put out. We were extremely reluctant to make this change, and it is not a decision the board has taken lightly, nor in haste, but we do so in the club's best interests. Craig Burley, what do you think?
I could understand it if the two of them had sat down as in the boardroom, or the groups had sat down, him and his advisors, the Tottenham board, and said, listen, for both parties we need to make a change because it's a little stale. Results have not been great in the last probably 6 months. Even though they got to a Champions League final, the league form's not been good. Certain players want to leave. But to just come out and say, as a board, we've made a decision, we're going to sack him, is it's a bit like when Ranieri won the league at Leicester and then he was out. You know, I know things change, but it just seems, you know, we cannot talk about loyalty in sport now, whether it be players, coaches, boards, owners. There just is no loyalty. I mean, 6 months or less than 6 months ago, they won the Champions League final. Spurs could never have dreamed of that before Mauricio Pochettino got to the club. Never dreamed of it.
It's interesting you bring up that point because once Spurs made the statement, the club server broke because everyone was saying, sack, really sack, trying to see exactly what was going on. I think many expected it would be mutual agreement indeed if he did go.
Yeah.
But this is a deal that Daniel Levy has decided that he wanted to break.
I could understand if the problems at Spurs were down to Pochettino. But the truth is, the problems at Spurs are not down to Pochettino whatsoever. You got half the first team want to leave because of the contracts. That is not Pochettino's problem. The reason, or half the reason that it's stale, is because there has been no money to give Pochettino the opportunity to bring players in. And I don't mean one. I mean, they signed in Dembele, but to keep things fresh and to keep competition, you have to have players coming in all the time and just keeping it fresh. That hasn't been allowed to happen. So when it goes stale, why is it Pochettino's fault? It's not his fault. And I would have thought he had enough in the bank from what he's done in 5 years that going through a bad patch, which everybody does, they would have seen it through with him, but clearly not.
And that's the amazing thing for me. Not only do you not back Pochettino in previous years where he continued to exceed expectations in my regard, but the excuse then was, we're building a new stadium. Now the stadium is completed and you wonder if the purse strings would be loosened. It's the same again. And despite that, you allow the likes of Eriksen, Alderweireld and Vertonghen and Rose, arguably £200 million worth of players to go out of contract. If you'd sold them previously, maybe he has a war chest that he can rely on. But I feel that Pochettino has been let down by Levy and the Spurs board, yet despite that, continue to provide fantastic league finishes, a Champions League final, and now a third of the way into this current season where they have been poor by their own standards. You let them go, it makes absolutely no sense to me.
But they're good players.
They are very good players.
They're good players, and they're better than any... Look at Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Brighton. How many of those players get into the Spurs starting 11? These are good players.
Listen, there's one thing, regardless of ability, there's one thing that will kill a team and players. It's when they get comfortable. So you add the 4 players who want away, who Pochettino hasn't been playing because of that. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody knows who's going to play when they're fit.
But they were comfortable last year and they made it in the Champions League final, didn't they? Because they didn't bring anyone in last summer.
Dan, it doesn't last forever. And there's not a particular switch that makes you comfortable, you know, but I'll tell you what does make you comfortable. No competition. You need to have competition to keep you on your toes. And at Spurs, right now, there ain't no competition. And everybody's comfortable.
If Tottenham really wanted to go again, they would have spent big in the summer, as big as they could, particularly off the back of getting to a Champions League final. But they didn't. And let's see now all this I Love Tottenham brigade, because we'll see what Harry Kane does and quite a few others. Because I've always said, when Pochettino goes and Levy continues to run the club in the way he runs it, which is from a business perspective probably pretty well, let's see how many remain. Because if I was Harry Kane, and I'm picking him out as the main man, who would probably be on the list of the top 5 clubs in European football, Why the hell would you stay at Tottenham Hotspur? You've just lost one of the best young managers in the game, no matter about results in the last 6 months, because there will be other clubs, oh, by the way, willing to offer him a job, bigger clubs in Tottenham. So why would I stay? Why would I stay when I know Eriksen's not happy, and I know Vertonghen's not happy, Alderweireld, Rose, the list, Mora's on the bench, hardly getting a game, all these players. If I'm Harry Kane, why would I stay? And once Harry Kane, the main man, along with the manager, decides it's time to go, then it's just it's a rolling stone there that's just gathering moss. And then we'll see if the board are coming out and saying, well, it was a good decision to sack Mauricio Pochettino. Was it?
What's the mindset of the board here? I'm trying to get
results. They've seen bad results.
Right,
they've seen some players. They've also seen, in all fairness, they've also seen Pochettino whining quite a bit, which he has, and they've seen all that and thought, yeah, things are looking stale here. We're going to go in a different direction.
I think Pochettino's entitled to whine. I am certain that over the last few years, promises have been made and they've been broken. He hasn't been given the kind of money that he thinks he deserves and needs to keep Spurs competitive. Yet, despite that money not coming in, he continues to produce not just good league finishes, but we've spoken about them in the Champions League, another competition. They're poised to go through to the knockout stage this season in yet again. And then all of a sudden, 12 games into a new season, results aren't following in the way that you hope or you've come to expect, even though you yet again don't back him. And you feel that this is a sign of a manager who's somehow lost the dressing room or lost or no longer good at what he does. I think they will live to regret this decision. I really, really do.
But it's good for him.
It's fantastic for him.
It's fantastic for
£12.5 million payoff.
Yes, I mean, that apart, which is pretty good. I think it's great for him because, look, 5.5 years or whatever it was, same battles, watching Liverpool and City in particular, really pushing the boat out, trying to keep up with them, trying to fight in the European front, trying to play a style of football that's entertaining, and balance everything else. I think it takes its toll, and I think from his perspective, he can go away, take stock for whatever it is, and he'll still be on the lips of almost all the top teams when they're looking for a manager.
Is it a shock that a board who makes such a daft decision doesn't understand why Pochettino's so good? At the end of the day, 90% of this Tottenham side was all the players were found for, not that much money. You think it's the Dele Alli. Kane was nothing. Vertonghen, Eriksen, nobody really wanted him at Ajax. So you go through the whole side, you can only get away with that for so long. You can't expect to just keep pulling out all these nuggets all the time. And the only way you avoid that is by spending money to keep topping up the nuggets that you've got. Oh, and by the way, look after the nuggets you've got by giving them proper contracts that make them want to stay at the club. So, listen, this board have absolutely shot themselves in the foot.
The other thing that you have to consider or remember is that, just over 18 months, maybe 20 months ago, Pochettino signed a new 5-year contract. And had he not signed that contract, 2 or 3 months later, you had the likes of Real Madrid who were interested, Manchester United interested. Now he's free. And we'll see what this season throws up in terms of big clubs and who is looking for a manager at the end of this deal.
Well, never mind end of the term. What if Bayern? If we think that Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and clubs like that are probably and have been interested in this guy, what do Man United do? What do they do now? Right? Because they've had a few good results recently. Not brilliant, but a few decent ones. Some players coming back from injury. Do they sit in their hands again and wait and think, well, we'll do nothing and see what... And then he pops to Munich or Madrid or wherever it is. So what do United do? Because they've been steadfast in saying, no, Solskjaer's, he's the guy, we believe in him, we're going to go youth. Or do they say, well, actually, that was just all a bit of phony talk and we're going to move from him? I mean, what do they do?
We talk about them being fantastic at the business side of it at Manchester United. And to do that, whoever runs it has to be cutthroat. Now, are they going to be cutthroat when it comes to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because that's the right thing to do. And they will always say, I'm doing this for the good of the company when it comes to business. And so to get rid of Solskjaer and put Pochettino in is the right thing to do.
I was going to say, do you think
will they do it?
Right. If they did that, what would your reaction be if Pochettino went in there? Would you sit up and think, give this guy money?
Yep.
He could really have a go at City and Liverpool here.
From a professional point of view, it's the right thing to do. Unfortunately for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's a little harsh. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's about Man United. It's not about hurting somebody's feelings.
Well, as we go to air, reports suggesting that Jose Mourinho and the Tottenham board are locked in negotiations to get him as the new coach of Spurs. The bookies, I imagine that's going to get shorter as well, 6-1 on at the moment. Jose Mourinho as the replacement for Mauricio Pochettino. It's funny because we talked about this in the last couple of months, haven't we? And all of you gone, no.
Well,
but it could be yes.
It actually could be yes, because I think Levy has courted them a little bit before. But here's the problem. Here's the big problem why I think it's just a no-no, is because he's jumped out of... it's gone from the frying pan to the fire here, because he was at Man United, and even though they had the money, he couldn't get Woodward to spend enough of it on the right players. And so Mourinho's frustration was, I can't reel in Manchester City and Liverpool unless you give me the funds. Well, guess what? The one criticism of Tottenham, period, has been they won't spend the funds to match the real big boys.
But Mourinho will know that going in, won't he?
So what's the point?
Maybe Mourinho will go in there and say, look, I think that
maybe Jose Mourinho will go in there and go, hey, it's a new me, no complaining, and I'm going to work with what I've got.
No chance.
Not happening. Not happening.
I can't think of one reason why he would work.
But he's a winner, isn't he? Isn't that what Spurs are desperate for?
And the one team that are not a winner is Spurs. That's been proven.
Someone who could deliver.
It's the one criticism
trophies.
we have of them.
And I suppose if you're going to make an argument for Mourinho, you know wherever he's been, he's won.
Right, I'll tell you what. But you know wherever he's been, he spent money on winning those trophies. So if he goes somewhere that's not going to spend money on winning trophies, they're not going to win trophies regardless of what the name is on the back of the coach's jersey.
But I suppose maybe Spurs feel like they can take the risk.
Do you know what? Right now, regardless, forget the results, the actual place itself seems to be toxic, because there's no way that half of your first team is telling you either they're going to wait till the contract's done or they want out now, unless there's a huge problem there. Now, the one thing that Mourinho has done in his last 2 or 3 clubs has caused chaos and resentment and problems. So how is somebody who has a reputation now for doing that, how is he going to make a toxic place any better?
The other thing for me is, and yes, you're right. Wherever Mourinho has gone, he has won silverware. But at Manchester United, you look at what the silverware that he did win. Bragged about the Community Shield, which he qualified for finishing second in the league, didn't win that. The Europa League, we've spoken about Spurs and their own Champions League ambitions. I'm not sure that winning Europa League really appeases Spurs fans right now. And then finally, the League Cup, which, you know, we've spoken disparagingly about time and time again. The big clubs don't take seriously. They put out their reserve
Spurs
squads.
Team is much better than the team that he inherited at United and won trophies with.
Jose Mourinho spent a lot of money on that Manchester United team. Maybe a lot of those players didn't live up to their price tags. Who you want to put the blame? Who you want to blame for that? We can debate all day long. But we do know that he spent a lot of money at Manchester United. And the silverware that he delivered at Manchester United, as much as the argument may be that he delivers silverware, I don't think any of those 3 trophies, if you want to call them that, appeases Spurs fans.
18 months ago, when he was in the US, Mourinho with United for this ICC pre-season tournament, he was walking around like somebody told him he'd got 2 weeks to live.
Yep.
He was miserable because Ed Woodward wasn't giving him what he wanted. Well, Daniel Levy is Ed Woodward times 10. Because at least, and I'm not a fan of Ed Woodward, but at least Ed Woodward, when somebody said we need to get Sanchez in from Arsenal, went out and said, oh, well, OK, here's 500 grand a week. I mean, it's a crazy decision, but at least they opened the purse strings. Daniel Levy rarely, if ever, does that. So it smacks to me that Spurs have to go down the same route that they went down with Pochettino. It's a younger manager that's been at smaller clubs, has worked their way, and is prepared to work, as Pochettino was when he first came in, is prepared to work within a budget framework where he knows what he's got. And to me, that looks like somebody like Leicester's Brendan Rodgers, which is unlikely, or Bournemouth's Eddie Howe.
Right.
Who's done maybe not everybody's favourite, but he's done a very, very good job with very little at Bournemouth over the years.
The problem is, and it's a rare one, and it's one you mentioned before when Ranieri went at Leicester. Normally, when managers get the sack, the fans are on board. They've had enough.
Well, there are some.
In this, but I think they're very much in the minority in this situation. And that's going to be a tough battle for the manager, especially if it's Mourinho, to come in and win, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. I think it only tells you that the supporters of Spurs understand where the real problems lie.
Right.
I don't think anybody can turn around and say, well, it's Pochettino. It's Pochettino. This is why we're not doing well this season. Nobody's going to say that. So, regardless of, again, who it is, there's absolutely no way that whoever comes in here is going to get anything other than pressure.
So, do you understand why Mourinho wants the job?
It's a big job.
Mourinho wants a job because it's a big job, and he thinks
great job.
He thinks
I have no idea why Mourinho would want to touch this.
Because he's not getting any other big jobs. He's not getting any of the so-called, the Bayern Munichs or the Real Madrids or the Barcelonas.
And he's
not getting that at club level.
He's not getting this Tottenham side back to the Champions League final, and he's not going to challenge City and Liverpool nowhere near it. So I don't understand why he would want it.
To that point, no, and I agree with Stevie here. I think Jose Mourinho sees this as his best opportunity if he wants to get back into club football. Now we can debate whether it's the right fit for Jose Mourinho or what we feel his future should be or what it holds. But I don't think there's another club in world football bigger than Tottenham Hotspurs that's going to come looking for Jose Mourinho.
Well, I thought Real Madrid.
Similarly, I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
And by the way, how's this Tottenham team, how's he going to change them? Is he going to turn them into like 10 men behind the ball? I mean, if he can go to Real Madrid and do that with Real Madrid and turn them into this ultra-defensive team, I mean, the Spurs fans are going to go absolutely crazy.
I'm not suggesting that Mourinho... I still think he can go somewhere and be his old self if he doesn't go down the line of where he's been the last couple of clubs that Stevie mentioned, where he just fixes his bayonet, wants to fight the world on his own. But he needs money. He needs... Unfortunately now, if you want to bring somebody like Mourinho in, you can only do that by giving them money. Otherwise, you're just giving yourself a huge headache, right? Otherwise, you go down a different route and you bring in somebody who's going to be less of a hassle for me, but is going to work within the framework of what's already there, given maybe an extra couple of players for little money. I just don't think it makes sense. I just don't understand it.
More talk, of course, on this tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe Mourinho will be confirmed as the manager. Mark Ogden will be joining us to give us all the latest on the next edition of the show. Today, of course, saw the last round of qualification from the group stages for Euro 2020 next summer. We saw the likes of Wales add their name to it as well. There are still those playoff sides to go. We won't explain the playoffs because they're very complicated. But the 2-0 win over Hungary for Wales has been encapsulated by this picture afterwards. Wales goal for Madrid in that order with the Welsh flag and a very happy Gareth Bale behind said flag, smiling. It seems like any chance he gets at the moment to antagonise Madrid,
Well, I don't get it. It's another great night for Wales, for him, leading the side as he does. And it's very childish. I mean, no matter what he says, Real Madrid have given him a magnificent platform. Whether he doesn't get on with the manager or not, they've given him a great platform, and for most of it, he's performed very well. Gets paid extremely well. And I don't have a problem with him enjoying his golf. I want to go play for Wales. But that just seems something very, very immature to me.
Do you think he's aware of it?
He's having a laugh, isn't he?
Of course he's aware of it.
He's aware of the flag. It's not just like it suddenly appeared.
Well, it's not like he's made that flag up himself.
No,
I mean,
but-
he's grabbed it from somebody.
No, but Stevie,
somebody
you know.
will have grabbed it. Somebody will have grabbed it, and from the crowd, one of the other players, and they're having a carry on. I mean,
So you give him a pass?
come on.
Well, I give him a pass unless he's brought that flag out himself.
Well, exactly.
No, I know. Listen,
I mean, of course he has it.
Other than that, I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I think a fan made this up. Somebody
Yeah.
spotted it, brought it out. But listen, if you're Gareth Bale and you're at a club like Real Madrid, I think you have to show a little bit more common sense in this. It's not something I would do. He would be criticised for it, and whatever criticism comes his way, he's asked for it, if you ask me.
I initially thought there that might have been a preconceived flag.
Right.
But,
Right, which would have been stupid.
but that's why I was saying it's very childish. At the end of the day, if it's been dragged out the crowd, then fair enough. But as Shaq
Just
said,
qualified
I
for the
accept.
youth. They've just qualified for the youth.
Right.
Somebody's grabbed it. They're giving it all
Agreed,
that.
Steve.
Hey.
He's having
now,
a laugh.
tomorrow, maybe his agent goes, you know what, that maybe wasn't the smartest
Well,
thing.
unless-
And he'll be like, you know what, but you know what, at the
Well, it
time,
might- it might have been-
I was enjoying myself.
it might have come out from the coaching staff.
Well,
I'm serious. There's something stupid like that.
Regardless of where it come from, he's going to be heavily criticised for it in Madrid, and rightly so. I think if you're prepared to do this on the pitch with this flag, have a laugh, then you've got to be prepared for the criticism that comes your way.
I'm sure he's.
I
And
think
it
you've
is
seen-
something,
I
you know,
think you're looking
this
far
doesn't
too
come out of the
deep
blue,
into
though, has it? In the
this.
press conference before the game, he said, look, I much prefer playing for Wales than I do Real
Which is why
Madrid.
somebody's made the flag up.
Which why maybe it isn't the best
Because
to
they're
be...
having a laugh. He just qualified for the Euros.
Yeah,
and
good.
he's
So why
enjoying
why
himself.
bring Madrid into it? Why kick your employees once again who have paid you hundreds of millions of
kick your
euros
employees?
that have given you the Champions League trophies? It just seems completely unnecessary.
Hold
You've
on.
got to think about the circumstances.
No, Stevie.
Oh,
look at his circumstance. look at
away you
Madrid.
go.
Hey.
I'll tell you what, let's look at his circumstances. He's been absolutely fantastic for Real Madrid so far. After the complete and
Well,
utter
I tell
nonsense
you
went
what,
through.
hey, never
and
mind
he's
that.
having a laugh.
Oh,
And
you've
I'll tell you
changed your
what,
tune from yesterday.
What?
Yesterday you were about Ronaldo. Shouldn't be bothered with Portugal. Juventus pays wages. It's much more
I
important.
was talking about Portugal is the association, pal. Never mind Portugal. Of course, Santos.
Now
and
all of
that,
a sudden,
I was talking about
yesterday
that.
it was a club that was most important, and now today it's Wales.
Oh, yeah, by the way, listen to you. What a reverse you did, by the way. Me. Well, I think it's very childish. Oh, well, maybe... Actually, no, maybe you're right.
Well, if
It's
he's
all
not right,
right.
it's
I won't
childish.
make your mind up, will
Well, I
you?
don't know